Hey guys, Red again from Wrangler and Yugo. I decided I was going to do a deck video for DarkWorld. So if you just bear with me while I quickly sort it out, I'm just going to chat here because I just started the recording without thinking about sorting the deck out. Um, so I was just obviously talking about some changes to my situation, and I thought, I should probably, how should I put it? I should probably tell you guys about the upcoming tournaments that might be happening in uh, the next couple of months. We've got two new events that should be pretty good. We've got the Warlords event, which is obviously the main tournament sort of idea scene, and we have another tournament scene, well, another tournament idea, which is to have a friendly event every week at Waterstones of Boston. Uh, Now, for anyone in the local area, you're free to come along to all of these events. We've got no problem with incorporating new people to the events. Uh, Warlords does really kind of have a limit of about 8 people per week, and we do have about, I think it's about 12 people registered at the minute. But me and Glenn can always sit out and judge and stuff rather than play, and just stuff like that. So we can have up to about 15 people, and we are planning as well if we get enough people to have like a big end of month or end of, so I don't know, every 2 months or something tournament, which will take place in a bigger venue where we can have then a larger number of players. Sorry I'm not keeping much eye contact with the screen, but at the minute I am trying to sort this out quickly for you. So yeah, this will be a deck video about DarkWorld, and I just want to make that clear that this will be DarkWorld, and don't expect anything special. It's not the best build I've ever made, but this is my DarkWorld deck for the format now. I am going to just quickly tilt my screen and get my map out, so to speak. So how's that look? It's a bit fun. Okay, so the first card in the deck is obviously. I'll just move the computer. There we go. First card in the deck is Grapha. Obviously, he's the main card of every DarkWorld deck. Obviously he's big, he's mean. When he goes to graveyard, he has to blow things up. So one of my favourite cards in the deck is just Grapha, just because I think he's pretty cool. Then we have Snow and Browl, the extra draw power and the extra search power in the deck. Really important to the deck. I kind of call them the DarkWorld core, because then everything else is kind of optional. But that's those. Then I have two Beige. Beige is just such a good card. I don't run silver or gold, I just run Beige because of the fact that, if you don't have a discard outlet in your hand, you can just normal summon him to get a Grapha if you've already got one in the graveyard, which is never a bad thing. So I run two Beige. Then I run two Tour Guide from the Underworld and Sangan. Obviously, Sangan just to search Tour Guide. I very rarely use Tour Guide to go into Sangan unless I really need to. Now, generally, I'll Tour Guide into Brow, Overlay, like detach, and that sort of thing. That's how I tend to do my Tour Guides. I can also do Levier if I've removed enough, and two Fabled Ribbon. Obviously, there's a D-Rev one and a Backpack one. I'm waiting to get a second D-Rev one. Most people only run Raven at 1, but I just didn't know what to replace the Tour Guide with, and I didn't really want to run just one Trans Archery, and I just didn't think it'd work, so, well, I still don't think it'll work. So I'm just running two Raven instead. Nice, easy tech there. Obviously onto the spells, we've got 3 Gates of the DarkWorld. Obviously it's just staple for any DarkWorld build, it's your main outlet. 3 Dealings. A lot of people say only run 1, but what I actually do, and you'll see this when I get onto the sideboard, is I main the 3 Dealings and then I side my 3 MST. So against another DarkWorld deck, I can take out my dealings for MSTs. I'm not plussing them. So even if I lose the first round, I'm not plussing them in the second round. And so I can kind of hold them and discard them if I need to for other cards, so I don't have a Dark World. So it's not too bad. 3 drag down into the grave. Obviously, it's just that card that makes Dark Worlds good. I've got 2 holo ones that I'm picking up in a couple of weeks, and I'm looking to get a 3rd holo one because I just want to fill the deck out with those. Then my single spells, I've got Card Destruction, Ella, Foolish, Heavy Storm, Reborn, and Dark Hole. Obviously the general staples. As I said before, I don't run MST in the main deck, I only run it in the side deck. Onto my traps, I have 2 Mind Crush. Obviously, this deck just has so many ways of getting into your opponent's hand and seeing it, even without having Trapdoor Shoot there, so it's still just a really good card in the deck. I don't side any extras, but it's just a really good card. 3 Reckless has brought to our attention by many Dark World players in the past months. It's just that card that, Dark Worlds can draw so much outside the draw phase anyway. Skipping the draw phase doesn't really matter, because as long as you don't get too bad off the Recklesses, you're pretty much guaranteed to draw every turn extra anyway. So once you've got gates set up and stuff, so it's not too bad. 1 Torrential, 1 Solemn, 1 Millforce, and 1 Deck Dever. A lot of people have told me I should run 2 Torrential or 2 Millforce, but I just like having one of each, and I might start side decking one or the other, just to make it clean. I'm going to move on to my side deck now, because I just think it's really cool. This is my Sangan token. It's clearly the best card in the game. It's got infinite attack points, that's all about right, it's just attack points there, yeah. Joking about that, but that's my Sangan token. Self-painted, of course. Have Catastor, obviously he's level 5. I can make him with Raven and Bage in a desperate situation. Wyvern, this card has won me so many games on DN and stuff, where like I've powered through them. Like I'll summon it and I think, oh, it's a weak 2100 if they don't know what the card does itself. And then I like attack them with Grapha and suddenly it's a 5100 attack monster. It's like, wait, where'd that come from? And that's a game, if it hits. So she can be rather deadly. She's a pretty good card. I quite like her, so I keep her in. No, just because of Raven, and like you can make it so easy. It's like Raven, ditch Bage, special summon Bage, Synchro, done. So Wyvern's good. Ancient Fairy Dragon. This card's just really good in the deck. But I can't think of a deck I'd rather main it in, apart from maybe Gravekeepers. If you could Synchro that well in Gravekeepers, but it's basically you stick her in defense mode, and if you're playing against something like Gravekeepers or another field spell dependent deck, you get rid of their field spell and get your gates out, which can really turn the tides. And we've got a lot of decks coming out that are going to be really popular, especially like the Prophecy decks. They're going to be really popular, and she's just really good against them. Like destroy their field spell, get your own, because their field spell's kind of their for the like Prophecies, kind of their mid game winning push. Whereas with Dark Worlds you kind of need it up as much as you can. So with Ancient Fairy Dragon you can kind of ensure that if you're against any other field spell dependent deck. 1 Black Rose Dragon, obviously. This deck uses a lot of level 7s because they're just so easy with Raven to make. Black Rose there, obviously just staple. I've got a Dark Highlander. It's not really used that much because obviously the synchros aren't popular so much in the game now. But I didn't really have another card to put in the side deck that I wanted to, but extra deck that I wanted to put in. So I mained him, and it's just like, occasionally you get like that rogue synchro deck that does really well. So it's kind of, if I face that, like first game it beats me with synchros, I can kind of go right. Second game I need to drop Highlander first to win. Obviously we've got Gaianite, because we can't have Brionac anymore, so I put Gaianite in just as kind of a +1 sort of thing. It's just a nice level 6, 2600. I could have an Iron Chain, but I find Iron Chain Dragon tends to help my opponent. Usually, like if they want to get something in the grave, I generally end up putting it there for them. So it's kind of like, no, Iron Chain, you can stay out. Then I run 2 Stardust Dragon. This will become apparent when I show you the side deck. Scrap Dragon. It's just a good level 8. It's if I don't really want to drop Stardust, it's my second option. It's a 2800 that can, pop anything for anything. If I need to set up my graveyard and I've got a few like floaters floating on the field, it's just, well, there's not really any floaters in the deck. But if I get anything stuck on the field that I don't really need anymore, like a used up Levier or something, I can scrap Dragon and get rid of it. I have Chimera Attack Fortress Dragon, obviously. That also will become apparent in the sideboard. That's probably giving that away. Just because the deck doesn't need that many synchros, so it just kind of fills the space. One Levier. It's Levier. I mean, Levier is good, but in this deck it's God, because you're always removing cards in the graveyard, so you've always got like a level 4 it can bring back, like just to, like, even if it's like, bring back bounce Brow, get Grapha, and then ditch the Brow to draw again. Maelstrom, I just like it, it's like Utopia for destruction effects, so, it just kind of sits there. I don't really make the level 4s that often, the rank 4s, because, but they are there for reasons. One Leviathan Dragon, again, it's for setting up the graveyard. Like I can tour guide into Brow, detach the Brow, and then remove it for gates. So it's a way to set up the graveyard for that. One Utopia, he's the best rank 4 in the game in my opinion. I know most people don't agree with that, but for me he's the best rank 4. I just love him. And then Zen Main's just to it's just to float again. If it gets stuck there, I can scrap dragon it. I can even scrap dragon it to kind of like set itself off, which will let me destroy an extra card at the end phase. So that's kind of like the main deck and the extra deck, and I'll just go into the side deck. There's a random Soul Taker there. I keep meaning to incorporate it into the build somewhere, but I haven't really found it yet. It's not actually in the deck. There's your side deck. I've got 2 Cyber Dragon because of the combo attack against any like gig, giant builds or anything. It's just good. 2 DD Crow. Again, they're just good. Like against certain decks like Insector and stuff, where they've only now got one main card where they need to get it in the graveyard like a Hornet and then just decrow it, and that wins you the game usually. Because they suddenly lost all their destruction engine. 2 Raikou, the Light Swan Hunter, mainly for Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. If I think they're siding Shadow Imprisoning against me, I'll put Raikou back in. That is literally the only reason I run Raikou in the side. But he is a good card. He's not exactly a bad card either, so. And I mean, he does work sometimes, like with the mill, he can set up your graveyard well. About the only reason I side him is for Shadow Imprisoning, and I usually, like, if I don't think I need to synchro that much for the second game, I'll take out, like, Fabled Ravens or something, something like that. One Malefic Stardust Dragon, this is why I run 2 Stardust, so I can sync for one then make one. It works pretty well against other field spell dependent decks if I can't make the level 7, because I get a 3000, well, I get a 2500 beta, which I can just drop. I mean, it stops me destroying their field spells obviously, but it's still good, and they have to then destroy their own field spell, or get rid of it, to get rid of my Stardust, which can, it's just overpowering them, basically. 3 MSTs, as I said, because, obviously, I think, because I was running 2 MSTs and a Dealings, and I'd often draw the MST instead of a Dealings, and that'd lose me the game, so I took out the MSTs for the Dealings, and sided them. 2 Noblemen across out, this isn't really an important stream tech. I'm just teching it because of at my locals at the time when I actually built this side deck. There was a pretty good Gravekeeper player. He was pretty tough to beat, so I just kind of sided them for him. Not really just to pick on him, but just because I was worried about people copying him and net decking his Gravekeeper build. One Change Disappearance, I do now have a second one to put in, which will probably replace a Nobleman, and and I'll probably put Stardust in. And then I have 2 Dimensional Prison just to finish it off. So that was my deck for DarkWorlds for this format. It's obviously quite a big deck to talk through. I mean, there's nothing really special about it. I mean, it's not really unique in the sense that it's DarkWorlds, but I quite like the build as it is. As I said, obviously I've got to work on the side deck because uh, my side deck's built for my old locals, so I'm going to work on that as I go. I generally build my side decks for locals, and then I would change them when I go to if I go to a big tournament, I would change them to fit that. For now, that's kind of everything, I guess. I can't really say anything else to the video. I might do a deck binder video later, but that's just if I get down to it, if I can bother. But thank you for watching. Take care.